Hello and welcome to episode 69 of Daryl Show Your Work. So in this episode, I will be covering the snort application. All right. And so what snort application is, it's a free open source network intrusion detection and prevention system that analyzes network traffic in real time to identify and block malicious activity based on user defined rules. So I'm going to mainly be covering the detection features of a snort, not so much the prevention. So I'm going to just be displaying and showcasing how we can create snort rules to be able to detect certain attacks. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a snort rule so we could be able to detect recon actions such as if an outsider tries to ping our system. All right. So to get started on that, I am going to open up the snort rules file to be able to add a new snort rule to it. So in order to do that, I'm gonna say sudo. Excuse me, hold on. All right, and then nano to open up my text editor. All right, and then the rules file that we want to modify is located under etc snort, and then it's going to be rules. And then get this back on track here. And the file, the rules file is local.rules. All right. This is what going to set the snort rules here on my local system. And also in this video, I'm going to be switching between my red and blue hat here. So I'm going to be playing a role as the defender and as the attacker. So right now I am playing a role of the defender and setting the rules file, and then I'll be switching hats to the attacker to generate that traffic to see if our detection rule works. All right. So the rule that I'm going to write here is I'm going to say alert icmp, because that's the protocol that ping uses. And then I'm going to give it our CIDR address. And I'm going to say any. Two. And so what I'm doing is I'm setting a rule for a range here, and I'll explain that once I'm done typing out. So this rule I'm going to write out. I'm going to be writing out another rule here. I'm not, well, I'm going to be adding another rule here later on in the video, but I'm not going to write that out. I already have that pre-written out just because of just how long it is and how easy it is to kind of make some mistakes here in the syntax. And I don't want to take up too much time trying to make sure everything is right. All right, so right. Okay, so basically what this alert is doing is going to detect any sort of ICMP packets, which is synonymous with a ping packet. All right, and it's gonna search for that within this range of IPs, and if it does pick up anything, that is going to come back with this message, ping request detected. All right, so I'm going to hit Control X to exit and Y to save. All right, so next I want to be able to actually run this rule. All right, so I'm going to start, and I've done, in order to run this rule, I'm going to start up snort. So I'm say sudo snort dash I 32 C. Then we want to execute this from etc snort, and then snort dot config, and then we're going to say dash a console. All right, so what this is going to do, long story short, is going to run the snort application against the interface that I'm currently running. My IP is running on, which is interface ENS32. Hold on, let me fix that. Glad I caught that. All right, so let's get that started. Okay, so it looks like snort is running. So I'm now going to switch hats, and I'm going to switch to the attacker machine. All right, now we're on the attacker machine. So let me open up my terminal here to get started generating that ping traffic. I'm gonna increase my font here so everyone can see what I'm doing. All right, so I am going to ping that that address. So the address of the machine that I was just using is 172. It goes my keyboard running away from me again. 170 172.20.1.10. All right, so I'm gonna let ping run for, I'm gonna send 4 packets before I shut it down. Okay. All right, so we transmitted 4 packets, we generated that traffic, and let's see, was that traffic captured by snort on the target machine. And there we go. So we see this, we see the traffic here that was generated from the attacker machine by snort. So that's an example of how snort can be able to pick up recon activity such as pinging. All right. So if I let's say I wanted to see like where these logs are located, okay? Because everything that's being generated here is stored in a log, and this is just, FYI, for just for some extra information. So in order to show you that, let me see. I don't think. I'm gonna try to do a Control C. Yeah, it's not gonna let me do that. So let me just exit out of this window, and I'm gonna just open up a new one. Most times you could do a Control C to exit out of snort, but for some reason it won't let me do it. So no problems. I'll just open up a new terminal here. All right, so to see where those snort logs are located, I'm going to list that out. I'm going to say ls, and then they're located at var log snort. All right, so they're located in this directory, and then I'm going to say pipe, and then so by doing this, all right, this is going to first it's going to take me to the location of where the snort logs are. All right, then I'm going to ask it to create a human readable version of the logs. All right, and then to store the output into a different file, and I'm going to name the file as I'm writing this. So I'm going to tell it to output the these files into my local directory. Oh, you know what? Before I just realized something, before I can do any of that, I need to switch the root user to be able to do this. So I'm gonna say sudo switch, su for switch user, and then give it my password. Okay, now I'm in root user. Now I can go ahead and all right. So this is going to take us first to where that is, and let me just make sure I got that. Check something on my end, make sure that that's actually where that is. So I'm not giving us the wrong location. Okay, so first, let me see. I'm gonna separate those commands. All right, so first, I'm gonna just show us where that's where the actual snort logs are located. All right. So as you can see, um, in var log snort, we can see snort log, and then we can also see snort dot log dot, and then this number here. So that number is going to be real important for this next command that I'm going to write out. All right, cause so I'm going to say now this part of then in this command, this is where I'm going to create the human readable version of the logs, okay, and then store that into a new output file, and I'm going to store that into the local directory, not in root, but in Ubuntu user. All right. So in order to do that, I'm going to say um, sudo snort r. All right. Now the R flag is what is what's going to create that it's going to what's going to create that human readable version for us. So I'm saying take it out of currently where it is here in our var log directory. All right, and then I want to tell it I want to take specifically the snort dot log dot 176.27.18.472 file. All right. Right. And I want to take that file and move it to the home directory of Ubuntu user into specifically into onto the desktop. So that way um, our blue team analyst would be able to have easy access to that log file on their end. All right, so then when I output what's in this snort log file, I'm gonna output everything to snort underscore output dot log. All right, and that's going to again I'm taking that from the var log snort directory, which we can only reach using a root user, and I'm transferring that onto the Ubuntu user's desktop so they can have access to that same log that only the root user would usually be able to have. All right, so I'm gonna hit enter. All right, so it looks like everything should have gone. So in order to make sure that everything went the way it should, I'm going to switch back to Ubuntu user. So I'm going to say su Ubuntu dash user. All right, so back in my session is Ubuntu user, not root anymore. And then I'm gonna say cd. I want to switch to the desktop because that's where we sent the file, the output file. All right, then I'm gonna run a list command just to make sure it's there. And there it is, snort underscore output dot log. All right, so we successfully sent that snort log. We pulled it from a directory that was only accessible by the root user. We sent it to our normal blue team analyst users desktop, so they would be able to have access to that log moving forward as far as any sort of further analysis or for anything they may need and in terms of investigative purposes. All right, so I wanted to create another rule here, but I want to create a rule specifically that could detect a denial service attack. And just to give a high level definition of what denial service attack, think of when an attacker sends a vast amount of packet requests to our system, all right, and it's meant to disrupt the availability of that system. So it's supposed to, the idea is to send so many requests at once where it becomes hard for our system to process that and causes it to go down and become unavailable for the users on that end. All right. So that is a denial of service attack, and usually a denial of service attack is coming from maybe one location, where distributed denial of a service attack comes from many different locations, kind of using the same sort of MO, but denial service attack may come from one computer at one IP. Distributed may come from various IPs, which an example of a distributed denial of service attack. Think of a botnet attack where a command and control server may affect a bunch of zombie computers, and then at a later time they use the zombie computers and send a bunch of traffic to their target to take down the target. All right. All right. So moving on to creating that rule, I'm going to run the same. I can go back in my history actually and just run that same command that I ran at the beginning, where I'm going into the rules files here, and I'm going to create a new rule. All right, so this time I am going to paste that rule in here. Okay, it is very long. So this time I pasted that actually here in the virtual machine. All right, so I'm gonna copy that from here in my LibreOffice. All right, and then go back here to my terminal and paste that in. All right, let's go back, make sure that whole thing in here. It looks like it is. All right, so just to kind of briefly touch on what this is going to do. Again, this is a snort rule to detect DOS attacks. So you can see here where I'm specifying a threshold, a packet count within a certain amount of time, and that's how this rule is going to determine or going to flag something as a potential denial service attack, because if more than 70 packets are sent within a 10-second period, that's the threshold that I've added here, to be able to flag it for, hey, this is a potential denial service attack. You may need to look into this, or respond to what's going on here in the traffic. All right, so I'm going to do a Control X to exit. and a Y to save. All right, so now I need to switch over to my attacker machine to generate the traffic to start the DOS attack. All right, so it timed out, no problem. So let me just log back in. It's the Kali machine. All right. All right, so in order to generate the traffic, I'm going to use hping. And as a reminder for those who may have not seen the previous video that I did concerning with some of the previous videos I've done concerning hping. Hping is basically a tool that allows easy packet crafting. All right, so I'm gonna type out a command here. So I'm gonna say sudo hping, and similar to when I write Python, you gotta tell the version. So similarly, just like most times in my videos, I use Python 3. I'm using hping 3, version 3. All right, and then I'm gonna give it an S flag. All right, so what the S flag parameter is doing is basically it's going to send the TCP send flag. That's the mechanism or packet that is going to send, because remember I have that alert for the ping for the ICMP packet. So we don't want to alert. We don't want to trigger that alert, but we want to trigger a different alert. So this time I'm going to put an S flag in here to send send packets instead of ICMP traffic. All right, and then remember all those for it's going to basically attach. It's going to use that method of packets for all the packets that's being sent, and it's going to send them all to the target machines. All right, the target machine, which is the target that which is the machine that I've been using as far as generating the snort alerts. All right, so continuing on here, I'm gonna say dash P, and this is where I'm going to specify my port. All right, and then I want to put this into flood mode. All right, and then I'm going to tell it to send it to our buddy over at 172.21.10. All right. And so again, what this is going to do is going to launch a send flood attack to our host that's hosting the snort alert. And let me go back. I can't remember if I actually started snort up, because that is a vital step for any of this to work. All right, let me go back and double check. Did I start up snort? I did not. All right, so let's start up snort. In order to do that, I'm going to go back in my history, and we're going to run this command again. All right. Let me see. Illegal. Why didn't it run that time? Let's see. I should have ran that time. Let's see. Oh, you know why? Because I'm in the wrong directory. Let me go back. Okay. Now let's run that. Let me see. Okay, let me go back into it. May not like something I put in that rule. All right, let me check my syntax here, which there shouldn't have been any problems with it, but we're going to check anyway. Oh, okay, I see. Capital letter. It's case sensitive, so that's the problem. All right. So that should be the problem. Let's see. All right, let's run it again. Nope, no, it wasn't that. Okay, let's go back in and see what the problem was. Let's see, may not like that, so we're gonna just okay. 'Cause sometimes the text editor automatically turns things into. It may have translated that to an arrow, and Linux didn't like that. Right, just making sure everything's straight here. Let me see, just sometimes that's the culprit. So yeah, then sometimes it could be the quote. It may not like the same quotes that's in the word processing software. Right, threshold typing both. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, so let's try this again. Hold on. That may not. Let me see. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure. Where did that come from? Oh, I see. Okay, then 10 seconds. Yeah, that still shouldn't be there. Oh, maybe that's just the. I see. Okay. All right, so let's try again. All right. X. All right. There we go. Okay. So it looks like I had to make those slight adjustments there. All right. So let's go back to the attacker machine. All right. So now let's run this HP command. Again, it's going to cause a send flood. It's going to send that this denial service attack over to our host machine, and let's see if it does its job at picking it up. All right. So I got to give it my password. All right, so HPing in flood mode, no replies will be shown. All right, so let's go back to our target, and bam, we can see bad traffic. All right, we can see those. All right, so we can see these alerts. All right, so it said potentially bad traffic, so it's giving me those alerts and it's telling me where it's coming from. All right, so we can see that. I mean, so our alerts work here in terms of picking up denial service attack, and in terms of being able to pick up ping scans or specifically ICMP packet traffic. So I am going to do Control C to stop this. All right, stopped at that time. All right. So just one kind of bonus thing. Let's say that you wanted to just get rid of the snort rules from your system. In order to do that, you could just simply say sudo remove and then etc snort rules local. I think it's dot rules, not underscore. All right. And they're gone. All right, so that brings me to the end of my video. And just to give a high level overview of what was done here. So first, we started off this video by creating a snort rule that can pick up ICMP packets with the purpose of being able to sense if an attacker is trying to conduct any sort of ping scans or your ping requests to our system. All right, so to be able to stop a attacker potentially dead in their tracks, to act on that while they're doing their recon activity, so they don't get further into the MITRE attack framework as far as um, moving up with that lateral movement and attacking our system. All right. And then I also show how we can exactly where those snort logs are located, how we can pull that from a directory that's only accessible by the root user, and then transferring that to our regular normal user in order for them to have access to those logs for future use. And then I created a snort rule to be able to detect denial of service attacks, specifically a send flood, and was able to successfully to pick that up. All right, so please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.